The Philadelphia Eagles started free agency off by taking care of in-house situations. Then they gave Javon Hargrave a big deal. Then they traded for and signed Darius Slay to a big deal. They followed that up with two smaller deals, adding Will Parks from the Denver Broncos into the secondary. Will he play slot? Will he play outside? Will he play safety? Who knows? Also, they added Jatavius Brown into this really thin and young linebacker core. Is this all, or will we attack at wide receiver before the draft? One more wide receiver is off the board. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast. If you are new to the channel and love talking Philly sports every single day, hit that subscribe button. Now, if you like the way free agency is going and know that the Eagles are going to attack the wide receiver position in the draft, but still would like to get one wide receiver in free agency, smash that like button. And oh, by the way, it helps this content and pushes it out to other Philly fans. With all that being said, let's jump into today's topic. Today, I want to talk about a community post that I did yesterday, pretty much asking you guys to vote on when do you think the Philadelphia Eagles will target a linebacker in the 2020 draft. The options were first round, second round, third round, or with one of our fourth rounds. You guys voted. We're going to talk about that. And I also want to talk about receiver. We all know the Eagles are going to get a guy in the draft, first round, whether it be stay at 21 or trade up, or trade back in a scenario to get a guy that you still are confident in. I still think the Eagles are going to get two receivers. I don't know. A lot of things changed, like I said, with the Darius Slay trade. But with Robby Anderson signing with the Carolina Panthers, 2 years, $20 million, there's still one guy that I think will fit perfect when it comes to the price tag, the upside, and the fact that we need insurance at the wide receiver position. We saw what happened last year. Like, we almost needed to use Josh McCown's because we ran out of people on our team and people off the practice squad. With that being said, let's start with the linebacker pool. 270 votes, and the question was, when do you think the Eagles will target a linebacker in the 2020 draft? Now, I wanted you guys to answer this question as when do you think the Eagles are going to, not when do you want to, because that's two different things. And I'm not saying you're wrong if you want it early, but the Eagles. Well, let's get into it. First round, we had 4% vote the first round. Second round, we had 14% vote the second round. Third round got the highest votes with 45%, and fourth round got 37%, close to the third round 45%, but ultimately came in second. I understand why people will say second round for linebacker because we know we still have a need there. Jatavius Brown was a good pickup because he was cheap and we can play him at one of the linebacker positions or he can help out. But we don't have a guy that we feel 100% confident in. Nathan Gary stepped up, but he can't play like the sole middle. I mean, TJ Edwards, there's potential there, definitely potential there, but we don't have anybody else in case of an emergency or in case the potential is not what we think. So we need to have some more bodies there. Now, there's like 4 linebackers I thought the Eagles could get in the third round, but that was when we also had the 85th pick overall that we trade for Darius Slay. So you still have a chance to get one of the guys that can make an impact the first year, but you're still taking a chance. In the second round, you definitely can get an impact player. So depends what goes on with the whole wide receiver. I feel a little bit more confident in the secondary now that you got Will Parks, Darius Slay, Jalen Mills maybe playing safety. Who knows how that's going to work out with Will Parks there. Sidney Jones going to train with a guy who's been training with really good corners. So I think Sidney Jones can come back and have some dog in him. But I still think linebacker needs help and we have to attack it in the draft. I think I would put my guess as third round. I'm going to go with the 45%. With that being said, let's look at these 4 players. These were guys I was confident one of these guys were going to be there if we still had the 85th overall pick in the 3rd round. But using that pick for Darius Slay not only lets us have the 3rd round pick that is equivalent to a 103rd pick overall. So, will I think all these guys be there at 103? No. Could one of these guys fall to 103? Of course. I see mock drafts where Jordan Brooks is up and down. Akeem Davis-Gaither is up and down. Troy Dye has been steadily around the early to mid 3rd round, and Malik Harrison has been more steady to the early 3rd, middle 3rd as well. So I still think if we try to get a linebacker with the 103rd pick, we could get one of these guys. Maybe not the preferred one, but these were the 4 guys I was looking at. Now I know there's better linebackers like a Patrick Queen, a Kenneth Murray, and there's some other guys on the back end like a Joe Bocci or a Evans. But if I'm targeting it with my 103 3rd round pick, I got to look at these 4 because I still believe one of these 4 can be there at 103. I would feel a lot more comfortable if we were talking 85th overall instead of 103rd overall. So that's pretty much how I feel about that. I think we could get possibly a guy who can come in and work with these other young linebackers. But who knows? Maybe TJ Edwards steps up. Maybe Nathan Gary can play that will really good. Maybe Jatavius Brown, who has had injuries, is a fast guy and can do something. But I would not feel comfortable just going in with that group. I would want to add one more body. The longer you wait, you're adding a body who's going to be more equivalent to the guys who are already on the team. Not a guy who can come in and say, look, I'm going to take this position and I'm going to try to dominate it. But again, with not having an 85th pick and having a 103rd, you have to, weigh your pros and cons and see what other positions you need to acquire as well. We went from 10 picks to 8 picks, but again, it was all worth it because now you don't have to worry about corner as much as you would have had to worry about corner in the draft. So yes, you would have had more picks, but cornerback would have been very important to get a guy who can come in and start because Darius Slay is that dude who can control one side. Now, let's talk about wide receiver. As we all know, the Eagles are going to go hard at wide receiver in the draft. I know they're going to use the 1st round pick on a wide receiver. Could they go 1st and 2nd? Maybe. Could they go 1st and 3rd? Maybe. Could they go 1st and maybe all the way to the 4th? Pretty much maybe. But with Robby Anderson signing a 2-year deal with the Carolina Panthers worth $20 million, even though he's off the table, I was starting to lean more heavily on Breshad Perriman anyways for these reasons. 1, he would be a lot cheaper. Last year, he signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for $4 million because it was a prove-it deal because he's been injured and non-existent with the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. And in the first half of the season, he was non-existent again. Maybe because injuries or maybe because he sat behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and 2 stud tight ends who just took up all the balls. It pretty much is only 1 ball to go around. But at the end of the season, the last 5 games, Mike Evans was not there. Now, Chris Godwin did play some of these games with Breshad Perriman, but by the end of the season, I know for a fact that last game, Breshad Perriman was the only one out there playing as the number 1 and getting it done. Now, do I want him to come in and be our number 1? No. But for $4 million or maybe $3 million, I think he's going to have to sign another prove-it deal because he only proved it, 5 games at the end of the season? That's not enough to get a big contract. So you sign him to a 1-year, $3.5, $4 million contract, and you can get production like this. That would be a steal.
They'll get the 2-minute warning, and here's a pass to Perriman, who catches it.
Breshad Perriman, 26 years old. He's 6'2", 209 pounds. And I know I talked about this before, but I gotta show you guys again. And I don't believe this is the exact order, but he had 3 receptions for 70 yards, a 23.3 average, and a touchdown. The next game, 5 receptions, 113 yards, a 22.2 average, and 3 touchdowns. And then the next game, a 5 reception, 134 yards, 26.8 average and a touchdown, and 7 receptions, 102 yards, 14.5 average with no touchdowns. So the last 4 games of the season, he had 5 touchdowns, 3 games over 100 yards, and 1 game with 70 yards. We didn't see at all year, production like this.
Flushed. Looking in the corner. It's caught.
So if you were watching the live we did with Philly Fresh and Gay City Sports, Gay City said he's coming around on Breshad Perriman, and Philly Fresh was making fun of me because he said, if you want to get on the screen, your comment, just talk about Breshad Perriman because Mike is in love with Breshad Perriman. I'm not. But if you can tell me we can get a guy 1 year, $4 million, who can have production like that, and again, Deshaun Jackson on one side, the draftee on the other side, Breshad Perriman in the mix. Like I said, insurance at the receiver position is important because we thought we were going to have a high-flying receiving core last year. We thought Deshaun Jackson, he wasn't there. We thought Alshon Jeffrey, he wasn't there. We thought J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, because we drafted him over DK Metcalf, he wasn't there. And when he was there, I didn't see him there. Matt Hollins was there for some reason for a long time until we finally called up Greg Ward Jr. Like, there was just so much problems at the wide receiver position. So even if we double dip with 2 young rookies and Deshaun Jackson, I just would feel more comfortable getting a cheap guy like Breshad Perriman. You're not breaking the bank. If he comes in and gets hurt, the $3.5–4 million is not going to hurt you as much as if you would have did that like a Robby Anderson 2-year, $20 million. That played a bigger role than this little contract we possibly can get Breshad Perriman for. When he came out of the draft, he ran a 4.3. I don't know if he can still do it, but look at the highlights of him in the last 3 to 5 games. It looks like he can get down the field. With all that being said, thank you guys for watching and all the constant support. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think about the linebacker position? Are we good to go with what we have? Do we need a guy, or could we get a guy way later? Even though I put the poll up, let's talk about it in the comment section. And also let me know your thoughts on Breshad Perriman. Come on, 1 year, $4 million? If it don't work, it don't work. But I think it will. And don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this content grow. So smash that like button. And you guys know what time it is. Until next time, we out.